Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Spyro for Year of the Dragon Part 15. We're going to one of the most significant levels in the game, one of the most wide open area levels in the game, where you could definitely lose yourself by trying to look for the remaining gems, the Fireworks Factory. Well, game doesn't have a fireworks factory in it. Fireworks is probably the most, it's probably one of the most, significant resources they have, the significant exports they have in Spyro's world. Chinese sky candy. Oh, a Chinese invention in a game that's based on the Chinese zodiacs. And look, we're being reunited with Greta. Hansel and Greta from Spyro 2. They're back in this game, and for some reason they're ninja warriors this time around with martial arts skills that could easily pummel down any ninja that steps across from them. She just took out that large Rhinoc like it was nothing. And they have Rhinoc ninjas, a Japanese form of art, and they're taking over, and they're using it to battle against another Chinese-themed venue. Yeah, the Japanese attacking the Chinese and trying to take them over again. We saw this in the last world, and we're seeing it again in this world. These Rhinocs seem to have a thing with imperial or imperialistic Japan, and they seem to like going after things that were invented in China, or look very like traditional Chinese things. And we're gonna save them. These people like these traditional Chinese stuff from these evil ninjas. These ninja Rhinocs, they're nothing compared to Ninja Turtles. They're ninja Rhinocs. I don't even think Rhinocs are a real creature that exists in real life. Or maybe they're just very obscure then. I mean, I used to think Lombaxes were real creatures in real life, but no, Insomniac Games made them up. A lot of people thought bandicoots were made up too, but no, bandicoots are real. They do exist in real life. They're obscure, from Australia. And Spyro could ram into these ninjas like they're nothing. Ninjas are a very common thing we see in a lot of video games. There's a whole game on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox called I, Ninja. A whole game about learning the art of ninja. It's like a ninja 3D platformer. I just rescued someone named Noodles, a dragon named Noodles. Mr. Noodles! Mr. Noodles is lying on the floor! He's not breathing! Yeah, I just rescued Mr. Noodles from Elmo's world. Find it hard to believe that Michael Jeter guy played Mr. Noodles. He says that's like his favorite role ever, and he's been in tons of things. That's saying a lot. His favorite role was Mr. Noodles! From that Elmo show. I never really liked Elmo that much, but it was funny seeing that Mr. Noodles guy in it. To blow up this hard casing with those rockets we could spit out, and somehow Spyro, I guess Spyro uses his flame breath when the rocket's inside his mouth, uses it to reignite ignite the back of the rocket, and it shoots out at them. And then the sorcerer's there is building a rocket somewhere in this level. Only they don't call it a rocket, they call it a wocket. I don't know the difference between a rocket and a wocket. I know there's a wocket in my pocket. Sounds like something you'd find in your pocket. A wocket in your pocket. A rocket in the... There's a lot of ninja stuff in this level. These ninjas have come out, and some of them don't give off gems when they get killed, because some of them are just infinite. They just come out of those boxes that infinitely sends out ninjas at us, or we're supposed to keep, or expected to keep on fighting against and killing. And that guy uses a gun, like some sort of like snowball, like some sort of ball gun. I don't remember there being a ninja weapon that's a ball gun. I mean, they just didn't want to do the cliche thing and just rip off the Ninja Turtles, which is probably what everyone would have been doing in games at this point in time. I remember a lot of PS2 games that were related to ninjas, and I remember I used to go against I was in this war once called the DRE War, the Disc Read Error War. One of the reasons why I don't like the slim PS2 that much, because it fails at reading all kinds of discs, except PS1 games. At least in my experiences, it didn't really fail at reading PS1 games, but it did have a lot of issues playing DVD-based PS2 games. And a lot of those games had ninjas in them. So I started thinking, what does my PS2 have against games with ninjas in them? Because a lot of those games were ninja-based. My mom thought I was dumb for thinking that, but I said, no, it's not a dumb thing. It's true. A lot of those games do involve ninjas. And ninjas know the path of enlightenment. They know how to clear the mind and make their bodies magically levitate across the gaps. Only we don't have those abilities, because Spyro, I don't think, is a trained ninja. So we have to jump in that cannon then instead and just launch ourselves over here. Or we could collect more gems and more of our crap that's lying. There isn't really much of our crap lying around here, except for gems. And that thing too that disposes ninjas. Or that's a ninja dispenser kind of thing. We just destroyed it and got Only 5 measly little gems for that. See, most of them are hiding on the ceiling. There's shadows below us. And they just jump down and then say like, oh look, we're here. Like K2 in that movie, I think that was his name, that Pink Panther movie, where that Jacques Clouseau pays that ninja guy to hide somewhere in his apartment, and then he comes out at random times and yells at him and beats him up and destroys his apartment. Oh, those movies are some of the best. I remember seeing the original Pink Panther a very long time ago. I don't remember it that well. There were tons more. The only ones I've ever seen were that one and the Pink Panther Strikes Again from 1976, where that villain took over the airwaves or something like that. And then I remember Gerald Ford was in the middle of watching a sports game, and then he's like, call the FCC! We need to get this guy, we need to, if you really think the FCC is going to do anything about a villain, the FCC is very useless a lot of the time. As useless as... Well, I'm not proud of... I wouldn't be proud if I was ever working for the FCC. I'd be just as proud as that, as Alec Guinness was proud of being in Star Wars. And then we also know Gerald Ford's a fan of watching sports. Yeah, he invited Homer Simpson over to his house to watch the sports game after George H.W. Bush got too fed up with them Simpsons. We need to be less like the Simpsons and more like the Waltons. I'm just randomly watching that scene on YouTube. I tried looking for that episode on my DVD set of Simpsons, and I know I have it, 'cause I own every season 6, 7, and 8 of The Simpsons on DVD. I own tons of Simpsons on DVD. There's never a shortage of Simpsons. I just infinitely watch The Simpsons all I want on DVD, the greatest movie format ever. It's way better than digital streaming. A lot of people are asking questions like, why is Gen Z all of a sudden obsessed with collecting physical media like DVDs? Well, I'm a fellow Gen Zer myself, and it's not just something that randomly came back to me. I always collected DVDs. I've been collecting DVDs since the mid-2000s, and to this very day, I still collect DVDs. DVDs never left me. They never went away. They were always there. Just like Jumpin' Flash was always there. That's one of my most played games ever. It's like it never truly left. So I had one thing that just always stayed with me. Other things came and went, but that thing stayed with me forever. And the best things always stay with us forever. It's like a true ode and testament to, was it really something good or not? Is it really something you want to have forever? In the case of DVDs, I definitely say yes. I think DVDs should stay with us forever. And there's a whirlwind around here somewhere, so you go and destroy those flying things, those flying dragon things. Yeah, Spyro the Dragon is going against the flying dragons. And dragons supposedly are creatures from Chinese mythology or something like that. The mythological dragon. And they're fire dragons. Or fire dwagons. They're not dragons, they're dwagons. Is that like a wagon with a D in front of its name? The dwagons. The dragons rock the world. Dwagon rock. There's a boss in the original Ratchet and Clank that's very similar to this. I mean, it's pretty much a carbon copy of this, too. See, we're Insomniac Games. If you know Insomniac Games really just wanted to make Ratchet and Clank, just make Ratchet and Clank already! Okay, we will after we're done completing this trilogy. Because great trilogies come in threes, and the third parts of trilogies are often the most reluctant parts. Only this game doesn't feel reluctant at all. It actually feels more refined, more well-polished compared to its predecessors, and it has the most amount of content. It really is a jam-packed game. It's probably one of the most jam-packed, loaded, memorable games on the original PlayStation. And this game is pure proof that the PlayStation definitely was the wonder machine that then gaming in the Clinton years jokingly referred to it as. But we know his reviews are BS. I was just watching his Crash Bandicoot 2 review, and he complained about how the game is too short. There aren't enough levels in the game. You can beat the game in a short time. But then he says it's not worth it to go and do the quest to get the gems and all the other remaining stuff from that game. Well, if you're not willing to get the game 100% complete, then don't complain about the game being too short. I mean, the Lego games are like that too. Those games are mostly about playing through the levels and then getting the extra stuff. That's in fact, the majority of that game actually is just collecting all the other stuff in the game and not really so much completing all the main levels. It's a very small part of the game. If you just complete the levels and then those Lego Star Wars games, it would be very short then. But collecting everything in the game is what gives the game its value. So don't complain about a game if you're not willing to do everything with it. It took me years to get through to 100% complete some of those games, and when I did, it felt like a major achievement. I remember when I first 100% completed LEGO Star Wars 2, I was playing the PC version that came back in March 2009. It's one of the few games that I actively played from late 2006, and I got the game to March of 2009 for over 2 years. I've been trying to play a game, trying to 100% complete, and when I finally did it, it felt kind of bittersweet actually. It's like some game you like is finally over. Then the complete saga came around and kind of just removes LEGO Star Wars 2 from everyone's memories, and same with the original LEGO Star Wars video game too. Those games are considered obsolete now, which is probably think, well, what's the point of playing those games if you could play the complete saga? It's a way better game than any of those other games that weren't as good. We just rescued Evan. Yeah, it's probably sad and whining that his sequel spin-off movie to Bruce Almighty wasn't as good. And in today's news, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington, and my tiny little nipples went to France. I used to say that to kids in high school all the time. They just eat that up and just laugh hard at that. And they try to guess where that's from. And the best wrong answer I found was, it was from Anchorman, wasn't it? Well, they kind of were right in a way, because that was Steve Carell that said that line. He was in Anchorman, where he played a dumb news reporter that would probably say something like that. That wasn't in Anchorman. That was in Bruce Almighty. I like to think that Steve Carell's roles he had after Bruce Almighty were punishment for him, because he was a bad guy in that movie. And I think he deserved to get punished for that movie. So the next few movies he was in were pretty much punishments, like Anchorman, where he plays a mentally challenged reporter, and Sleepover, where he plays a wannabe cop. And then there was the 40-Year-Old Virgin. And now we were pretty much thrown back to the beginning of the level. We're trying to get back to where we're pretty much the end of the level. We can get there in like a blink of an eye, because Spyro can charge, and charging makes Spyro go very fast. Imagine how slow this game would be if we didn't have the charge ability to go very fast. Oh wait, there is a version of Spyro that's like that. It's the Japanese version of the first two Spyro games, because the first two Spyro games are the only known Spyro games that came out in Japan, and charging in those games doesn't make Spyro run faster for some reason, because the people that localized the game for Japan were stupid. They didn't know what the Japanese like. They just left Spyro as is. This game probably would have come out in Japan, and it would have been a huge game. It would have been a really big hit. Spyro could have dominated Japan easy. They could have made Spyro the new national animal of Japan. The mascot of Japan. It very well could have become that. But he just got thrown under the bus because of a bunch of stupid decisions. Now this Greta Ninja, oh look, we're finally parodying The Matrix. I was wondering when they were going to do that, when they parody The Matrix. Who hasn't parodied The Matrix at this point? We already had like 3 billion references already by 2002 alone. I wonder how many references it's had since then. Do kids these days even know what The Matrix is? Heck, I never watched those movies until way later, and I knew that was a reference to The Matrix, and that black screen with the green text, the green vertical flowing text. I remember having a screensaver thing on my PC a long time ago that was running Windows 98 that had that, where it took over your screen, and as soon as you move the mouse, it just fades away, just immediately goes back to your desktop. The Matrix. I don't think it worked on anything else since Windows 98. Oh yeah, she's going back to the Evening Lake to work on that rocket. The rocket's going to take us to the final homeworld of the game. There's a thing we can do down there. We actually can't do that yet because it requires the next character we're going to be unlocking, next playable character, Agent 9. Oh boy, Agent 9's really going to rip this game a new one. You thought Bentley was pretty tough? Agent 9's even tougher. Only Agent 9 relies on artificial technology to get him through his predicaments, when Bentley just smashes everything, like he's frickin' Chuck Norris or something like that. We're gonna have to be tougher than Chuck Norris to get through this challenge. We're pretty much going through these narrow hallways, these narrow corridors, and we're trying to dodge those Rhinox, so that's also we could get that egg that's up there. If we had Sheila with us, we could probably jump up there and just get the egg. But Sheila's not with us right now, so we just have to go and kill off all these ninjas ourselves. Spyro versus hundreds of ninjas. This whole moment alone, this whole scene in the game alone proves that Spyro truly was the greatest mascot character on the original PlayStation. What other mascot characters do you know of that could have done something like this? They could have just went against a huge swarm of evil ninjas and kill them all off and then talk about it afterwards. Yeah, sure, the Ninja Turtles did stuff like that, but they were just a bunch of ninjas in costumes, a bunch of guys in costumes that just fought against. I'm talking about the live-action movies, of course. That's my greatest Ninja Turtles memories happened when I was watching that movie from 1990. I still have my tape of that to this very day. I just watched it a few days ago, and it still works like a charm, which is good, because that's one of the greatest movies ever. It's probably one of my most watched movies ever, too. The Ninja Turtles movie. I also just watched the Japanese dubbed version of it, too, to help me learn Japanese. I wish I could play this game in Japanese, but that doesn't exist because this game didn't get released in Japan. And if a game wasn't released in Japan, then odds are it probably doesn't have a Japanese dub to go with it. What do you expect? This guy's just up here in this like inclined plane of a corridor. We have to get really close to him and spit it out. We still take damage from that, even though I don't really know if there is a way to get it. I mean, there probably is like a very masterful way to get through that without taking damage. Just running and sneaking around the walls like I'm freaking Batman. So surprising that they decided to make Batman a ninja. Remember when Batman was a ninja in that movie Batman Begins? I mean, Batman did have some ninja stuff in his cartoon. That was that show called Batman the Animated Series. And there was, I guess, comics had a lot of stuff like that. And then too, just reading that comic storyline, that comic story arc thing, where Batman got his back broken by Bane, and then that new guy named Jean-Paul Valley takes over for Batman, and he pretty much becomes like freaking evil RoboCop. He just destroys everything. He pretty much like kills criminals, and Batman had to go and teach him a lesson, only for Bruce Wayne to realize the truth of what it's like to be Batman. That was a pretty interesting story arc overall. It's considered to be one of like, the greatest story arcs in the 90s. The reason why the 1990s is a strong point for Marvel and DC comics. The 90s, it was a gold age. Nowadays, stories just feel like bland retellings of things. Oh, back in the day when stories were actually, I mean, not the newer ones were bad, but I think the older ones had some kind of charm to them we just don't see anymore. Just like in video games. Older video games had all kinds of things you don't see much anymore in modern games. And Spyro still holds up to this very day. I just found this egg. Sam the egg. Most generic name I could think of for something. Then again, a lot of these names are generic. When are they gonna run out of generic names? They just pull them out of a random hat or something like that? Using random number generator? The kind of thing a student would program using Java or something like that, or even Python maybe? Python random generator? Or like the random number generator you have on a calculator. I think that's pretty much cleared out everything in this segment of the level. I think we've pretty much done pretty much all or most of what we could do in this level. Without Agent 9, this level is not possible to 100% complete if it isn't obvious already. Those levels are actually kind of rare in this game than I thought. I thought this game was going to have tons of backtracking, but it actually doesn't really have much backtracking at all. It's a lot less than I expected. Same with Spyro 2. I knew Spyro 2 had backtracking in it too. But I'm actually surprised it didn't have much backtracking in it. Like, very little to no backtracking. Ray Phoenix, signing out.